At what point do I have to admit to myself that I may be buying too many video games? Hello everyone, Zian here from Nintendo Life, and if it's not evident, I like to buy a lot of video games. I like to collect them, I like to still play them, believe it or not. Whether I'm going out shopping with friends, looking around online, going to a convention, trading with people, I'm always getting new video game stuff. And it's been probably 6-ish, hold on, wait, where's my watch? Now it's been about 5 months since I've last made one of these videos. And what I like to do here is basically take everything that I get that's Nintendo-ish related, maybe even just retro game related, video game related, or really just video game related in general. Everything that I get, I like to just set it aside for the most part, unless I get too excited and I throw something on the shelf, like this white Japanese Wii U, which you already see here. I usually like to take all this stuff and set it aside so that way I can share it with everyone here. I can talk a little bit about where I got it, how much I got it for, why I picked it up. And I've been all over the place. I went to PAX in September. I bought some cool things there up in Seattle. I went to the Portland Retro Game Show in October in Portland, Oregon. I went back to Wisconsin twice to visit some friends and family, and I bought things on both of those trips. I've been going around to some of the local shops here where I live in Oregon, and I bought a few things. I've traded online. I've imported some things even. And I've gotten some cool gifts from some friends too. And there are some promotional items too that I have as well that I want to show off. So strap in, this is going to be another long video, but I hope you see something here that you didn't know existed. Maybe you saw that Japan exclusive Switch games video that I did. It featured the Shin-Chan game, which is now out in America, Buddy Mission Bond. I won't give it all away because you should go check it out if you haven't seen it. But one of the other games in that video that I covered was Tabe-O-Ja. I still haven't played this, unfortunately, but this is like a monster catching game all about food. And from what I've gathered, it uses like maybe NFC technology, kind of like Skylanders or Nintendo Amiibo. And you're able to collect these cards and you can kind of inject the characters into your game. But one of the weirdest things about this, the reason why it comes in a big box, these little like recipe books that I think have monsters in them. I could be entirely, oh yeah, these have creatures in them. And then you can like scan these with the IR camera on your Joy-Con. There's also a hot sauce bottle in here. And then yeah, it also comes with some additional trading cards, I think, that aren't in like the fancy package. I'm not sure what you do with these ones necessarily. They look like the same recipe books here, but they're just paper. They're not like meant to be folded and put in these books. So maybe these are the better cards. I don't know. I need to play this game like yesterday. But the crazy thing is that the game comes with this device, I guess. Let me grab a Joy-Con and show you what this does. Oh, okay. So you pop the side off here. You actually fit your Joy-Con in this grip. And so your Joy-Con fits in here. This is how you play the game. This like taps one of the triggers on the top of the Joy-Con, and then you take this hot sauce bottle, and I kid you not, I kid you not, this hot sauce bottle goes in upside down like this, and I have no idea what it does beyond looking cool, I guess, but apparently it's supposed to do something. It has like there's an NFC tag inside of it, so maybe, I bet once you put it in here, the Joy-Con can detect what like hot sauce bottle you have in the Joy-Con grip, and then the game will change accordingly, because there are different like bottles that you can buy that you can put in here. It has this really weird like flamin' hot like chili pepper with like this kind of ghostly face on it. It's really silly, but now that I've like actually cracked this open and felt like how kind of like cool this is, it's so novel. It's really dumb, but I think there's some fun to be had here. And then yeah, you're actually supposed to use this Joy-Con. I'm playing a game with this, and I hope I don't have to like use this analog stick, because it's gonna be really awkward if so. Because I want to hold it like this. I want to hold it like I'm playing ARMS or something. But it's like on the back of the box, it looks like the game wants you to hold it like this, and that feels wrong. So now you can see the IR scanner is on the bottom there. You can actually like hold that up to these books and apparently scan them into the game. If anybody wants to see me do like a full video on this, legit, let me know in the comments below. message me on social media somewhere. Let me know if I should do a video on this, because I want to. I just don't know if people are gonna watch it. And if you will, then I'll definitely make one. And then here's the download code for the game as well, like not the actual code. You don't get an actual physical copy of the game, which I was really hoping you would. So that's gonna be kind of dumb for preservation's sake. Eventually people are just gonna have these and they won't be able to play the game anymore because they can't download it, or like new users won't be able to download it. So that's kind of a bummer. Now, when I went back to Wisconsin, I ended up going to a few game stores, but I also went to this game store that I used to work at and managed to buy some old things that I wish I would have bought back when I worked there. So I knew where everything still was for the most part, but I got to flip through a bunch of stuff and I bought some cool things from there. So I ended up getting a Mario Sports Superstars amiibo pack because I have almost one of every Animal Crossing amiibo card pack already, and so I thought, why not get a sealed one of these? It was only like $6 or something like that. I ended up getting this Master Sword keychain. I found a Nintendo DS Lite headset. This was, I believe, branded and designed to be used in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl when trading and battling. It even has a special plug that probably is what detects the microphone, I would assume. I don't think you can really use this anymore. I would love to try it. Maybe there are online servers that I can mess around with and try, but I just bought this for the novelty of the fact that it's a Nintendo DS Lite headset. I also got a Super Famicom controller that I specifically tested myself back when I worked at the store, and apparently the start button doesn't work. So this is my handwriting on here from 5-6 years ago, maybe longer even. The controller's super yellow as well, but I've always wanted to mess around with retro brighting accessories and systems, so I thought that this would be a really good test project for me to try that out. And I could probably try to get that start button working too. It probably just needs a new membrane in there, or just needs to be cleaned up. I doubt that I ever opened this up when I messed around with it back in the day. I also picked up this box for Mega Man and Bass. I also picked up this box for Mega Man and Bass. I had the manual in the game already, but he just happened to have a box sitting around for the game with nothing else for it. And so yeah, I managed to put all that together, and the box is in really nice shape too. I was really surprised to get this. It was pretty cool. Now I have a big pile of stuff here on the ground, and it's possible that I got some other things from the store too, but the biggest thing for me was Boktai 2. I had this on hold for myself back while I still worked there, and I never ended up picking it up. This is, I don't know if you've heard of this game before, but this is a Game Boy Advance game produced by Hideo Kojima that it has a solar panel built into the game, so you actually have to play the game outside or in sunlight. And what that does is it charges up this gun that you have, and you use that to fight vampires. Now I have the first game. I owned that one back when I was a kid. I never got very far, and I rebought it as an adult again, and I haven't gotten to try it again since I was a kid, really. But this game doubled in price after the year 2020, and so I managed to get this for a really good price too. I was really pleased, and now I just don't have to worry about finding a way to play it. I have it, and so I'm all good. They actually made a third game in the series in Japan exclusively as well, and I have it on my wish list, but I haven't purchased it yet. That might be one of those things that I wait until I travel to Japan someday to buy, but I'm glad that I at least have the second one now. I also went back to my family's and dug through some of my old bins and found things like this Sonic the Hedgehog Archie comic book compilation. So this might be the first few issues of the Sonic the Hedgehog comic. I haven't read this in forever. It says it has multiple issue ones, and I know that the Sonic comic has some weird numbering going on. I had 2 different issue ones when I was a kid. I don't know why. Yeah, it looks like this is just the first couple of issues of the comic. And I've been wanting to go back and read these. I had a bunch of them when I was a kid, and I just don't really remember a whole lot about it. But I remember this being kind of a darker side of Sonic, and I always thought it was really cool. So I'd love to go back and read these. So maybe, hopefully soon I'll get to read this. I found this Sonic Advance 2 poster that I had from when I was a kid as well. It even has tape marks, where I must have ripped tape off of it. This came bundled in with Sonic Advance 2 when you bought it just brand new at a store, along with the manual and everything. And I probably had this in my school locker or something like that. Maybe I had it in my bedroom, I'm not sure, but I could see me like this would be the perfect size to fit in a school locker. I also found some Pokemon manga volumes, except for these were like promo ones almost or something. Like maybe this came with like one of the VHS tapes, but this is volume 3 of the Electric Tale of Pikachu. And then this is a signature special edition. It says it's red version. So this might be right where, oh no, and it's missing issue 1 or it's missing page 1 and 2. Darn it. Oh, what the heck? For some reason, like I or somebody else like wrote all over this too and like gave like Pikachu and Ash tears. Yeah, and this is actually, now that I'm looking back through this is actually different than the standard Pokemon manga with red, blue, and yellow and green. This is based on the TV show. So this is Ash Ketchum in here. This isn't even regular like red and regular Pikachu from the games either. I didn't realize that. That's so crazy. Ugh. I also found this little instruction booklet for the Japanese version of the Pokemon game, but this came out during the Gold and Silver set, probably like Neo Genesis, Neo Destiny. And there's these really cute little sketches in here of like Pokemon cards. There's like a little Charmander one, and there's cute little sketches of Pokemon and like the game board. Oh yeah, there's this one of Charmeleon evolving into Charizard. I love it. I'm eating this up. I also happen to be visiting the Green Bay area in Wisconsin, and I swung by one of my favorite stores there. My buddy Greg owns it. It's called Game Trade, and I ended up picking up Kid Icarus and Kirby's Dream Land 2 for Game Boy. I somehow didn't have either of these games. And then I got a manual for Advance Wars 2, which Greg was really kind to hook me up with. And then I swung by this store called Pre-Played on Oneida Street. And there were this really nice employee working there that like let us take a look at a bunch of different stuff. I ended up picking up this Game Boy Pocket, complete in box. The box is in better condition than anything I've ever seen before. Really, it's so clean. It's even better than the time that I found a potentially factory sealed Game Boy, which was not factory sealed. But this Game Boy, like I opened this before I bought it as well to make sure that it was legit. One thing that I always notice with Game Boys or like Game Boy Pockets is that the serial numbers are always like the first thing to go because you put your hands back here when you're playing and it gets rubbed away. But it looks like the person that had this probably only played it like once or twice. Looks like it really didn't get a whole lot of play. The screen is super clean. I love that the screen on the Game Boy Pockets is so much bigger than on a regular Game Boy as well. It looks so nice. Still have a contrast dial. Oh, the screen pops so good. Yeah, this is great. Right, I'm making a video. It was also my birthday in July, and so my grandma got me this Pokemon Victini starter deck, which I haven't opened yet. I might save it for a rainy day or for just a time when I want to play around with a new deck. And I've gotten to the point with the trading card game now too, where I used to play like mildly competitively, and nowadays, just when I get to play, it's just fun. So like having a sealed deck around like this that I can just crack open someday and not know what's in it, that sounds like a lot of fun to me. My mom and my grandma also got me this little Sword Kirby plush toy as well, which I love because like obviously I'm a huge fan of Zelda, and Sword Kirby was always the coolest one to me as a kid, so it's really nice to have like just a little plush toy of him now too. And then my buddy Zach gifted me Digimon Survive on Switch. Now I have this game digitally because I covered it for review, but you know me, like I love having physical games. So, and this game was actually really hard to find when it first came out. It was really like underprinted, and I think they printed it a second time. And nowadays it's still like a fairly expensive game, but it's not as hard to find as it was. But now I've been waiting to do this video to check these out, but these are cartridge stands that were sent over by our friends at Hyperkin. Now these are basically like, you used to see these like all the time in like Nintendo Power magazines, or like there were just mail-in offers for these types of products. But these just seem like really simple and clean stands that you can use to display your video game cartridges. And they make these for N64, Game Boy Advance, and the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance ones are both the same, which that's pretty cool. Like you get 2 of those in the box. Oh, and actually all of these come with 2 packs. That's super cool. I didn't realize that. So you can actually hold Wow, 20 cartridges with each of these. And the Game Boy one, wow, you can hold 48 cartridges with the Game Boy 2-pack. That's super sweet. So I have some cartridges in each of them, and I have some thoughts about them all in turn as well. So the NES one, I really like a lot. I think this one makes a lot of sense because the cartridges have spine labels. Same with Super Nintendo cartridges. On the NES ones, they slide in and out really nice. The Super Nintendo ones, I noticed some cartridges were like a bit more snug than others. And I don't think that's necessarily anything Hyperkin can do about that, except for making them maybe making the trays a bit bigger. That would be nice. But I think it makes a lot of sense to do NES and Super Nintendo on these. I'm not so sure about how I feel with N64, but that's only because there aren't cartridge labels on the top. And I know you can fix that, obviously, by getting your own custom labels, but I've never really been a huge fan of those. I think they can look kind of gross after a while, and they're not original, so I'm not a huge fan of those kinds of labels, but they are really easy to get in and out. And Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color games, I think these ones are the most practical because it's really hard to kind of like organize games like this because of they're so small, and like Game Boy Advance especially have those like annoying little lip on them as well, like so it's really hard to kind of like find a good way to get them propped up. But here, like you can't really see them very well. You still are encountering that issue with the N64 carts, but I think it's nice to be able to organize them in a certain way. And like one of these alone could fit way more than what most people probably have for Game Boy Advance games. I have a lot of complete in box GBA games. This is almost all of my GBA loose games right here in this single tray. And then you can also fit Game Boy Color, and then even like the big Rumble Pack like games in these cases as well. And they do stack on top of each other. Look at how nice and clean that is. And then I'm pretty sure, since these are all like pretty much the same length, I think. Oh no, they're not the same length, but you could like, if you really wanted, you could stack them around on top of each other and make them look all cute and stuff on your shelf. Maybe not N64 carts, because those aren't smooth on top. Those might just slide off, but I think they're kind of cool. I do wish it'd be nice if like the N64 ones are just flat on the bottom, but then the NES and the Super Nintendo ones are like a little bit taller. They have a lip down here. It'd almost be cool if they had like holes in them so you could like hang them on a shelf, because I could see a lot of people doing something like that with like their NES games, so that way it's like a bit easier to like pull them on and off. And like what if I just had them right over here? I just had a bunch of NES games hanging out here. That'd be kind of cool, right? Maybe a little scary if there was like an earthquake or something, but I don't know. I think that'd be kind of fun. The other thing I don't really like about these is the plastic it reminds me of the plastic of a Nintendo Wii U, or like a PlayStation 3, or like the late model Xbox 360s, where they're like that glossy finish that they fingerprint really bad and then they scratch like so easily. The problem though is that a lot of these are super scratched up already right out of the box. And I think that was probably just what they did to kind of give them this texture, I suppose. They probably had to like sand them down in the factory or something, but they just look used. And I know they're not. If I paid insert price here for these, maybe I'd be a little disappointed about the build quality of them. But they are super sturdy, they hold games well, and that is what matters the most. Also, Hyperkin, thanks for sending these over. That was really nice of you. Now this stack gets a little out of hand really, really quick, but I do just want to say that occasionally I go through my shelf and I'll pull off stuff that I just decide like, oh, this game's getting remastered. Oh, I own 2 different versions of this game. Or maybe I'll play something and find out that I actually don't like it, and then I'll just get rid of it. And there are a few stores in town that I like to go trade in stuff to. And so I've traded in some things, and that's allowed me to get some of this stuff. But also I just like to keep an eye out for a really good deal, and I'll pick it up if I find it. So 2 of the more recent things I picked up were the Sonic 3D Blast and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie game on the Sega Genesis. Now, I grew up with 3D Blast. I played this as a kid and was terrible at it. But recently, because of Sonic Frontiers, I went back to it and replayed it. And then days later, I went into the store and I got this for $25 complete in box. And now it's not like in the best shape ever, but I'm not like a huge stickler with this. Like these cardboard boxes that Genesis games like sometimes came in just are gonna be hard to find in great shape. So I'm happy with the condition. I'm just happy to have this and look at it and have it pull me back to those times. I also never really got to play this game as a kid. My buddy Zach, I'm pretty sure his brother actually had this game, and I think I watched him play it, but I never got to play it myself. And now, especially with like the passing of Jason David Frank, like that like hit me really hard. So when I saw this on the shelf, I was like, yeah, I have to get this game and play through it. And my partner Fallon, she also watched Power Rangers growing up, and this game's co-op. So I'm hoping that like someday we'll just like go watch the movie and then we'll go and play this, and back to back, just like one night, it'll just be Power Rangers. I also picked up Dude's Big Adventure on the Wii for the U-Draw tablet. This was $1. What do you want from me? And because of Digimon Survive and some of my chats with like my friend Taco online, I've been getting more and more, like I've been getting back into Digimon, I'd say. So I picked up some of the Digimon Adventure movies. These came out, oh my gosh, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. 2017 is what it says on the back. Now I think there's 5 movies in this series. I've never seen any of them. I grew up with the original Digimon movie, which I believe was just like a bunch of OVAs mixed together, but I've never seen these, and I don't remember none of these are the first, so I haven't tried to watch them yet, but I'm gonna find the others. I'm gonna make sure they have the slip covers with them, and it's gonna be great. I can't wait to watch them. If you've watched these and enjoyed them, please let me know. Speaking of movies, did you know that Xenosaga, the PlayStation 2 game, they made a movie version of it that is basically just the cutscenes from the game, but in movie form. It's on a DVD that will not play on the GameCube because it's too big. So you actually got this back in the day if you pre-ordered Xenosaga 2. So it was kind of their way of like, hey, you haven't played Xenosaga 1? You haven't even bought it? Don't worry about it. We got you. Just watch this. You just put $5 down. We'll give you this right now. You watch this, you let us know what you think, and then you come and pick up Xenosaga 2. It's a win-win, right? You're gonna buy Xenosaga 2, right? And then nobody really bought Xenosaga 2 and nobody bought Xenosaga 3. From what I've heard, at least. And that would explain why Xenosaga 3 is like $1 billion these days. I also have been buying some Switch games that I found when I come across them. Some of these are incredibly random, kind of like a Bayonetta individual release in North America for Nintendo Switch. Now, if you bought Bayonetta 2 or you heard about it, when that game released, they put Bayonetta 2 on the cartridge, but along with it was a download code for Bayonetta 1. Now, I've been holding off on buying Bayonetta 2 on Switch because I wanted to find a brand new copy that came with that code in there. And I should have just bought it back at launch, but I didn't, and here we are. But then when they released this for $30, I was like, yeah, I played through Bayonetta 1 like on Wii U years ago, but I only made it like halfway through. So now I'm excited to start back over on Switch. And I think I already put it in my Switch case, so that's why it's not in here. And look, it has a little bit of nice Bayonetta shoe artwork for those of you that are a big fan of her gun shoes, gun heels. What would you call them if you were Hideki Kamiya? I also picked up A Short Hike physically from Super Rare Games. This was only released in Europe. It does play in a North American system, and I haven't opened my copy yet just because I already have it digitally. And like if I'm gonna let a friend borrow it, then yeah, I'll crack this open someday, but I haven't yet. But this game is fantastic. It's really, really cheap on the eShop, so I highly suggest you throw it on your wish list if you haven't played it. Felix did a video adaptation of our Nintendo Life review on our channel, so I'll put a link to that in the description down below. But this was super cool that they did that. It also came with, oh my gosh, it came with a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so this is just like a little like fold out like park map like you would expect to get like if you went to a national park. This also came with A Short Hike trading cards, which I will open on camera here now to see what we get. What is this one? The Far Beaches. Ooh, that's pretty. Got some deer up there. The Islands. And do we get the cover of the game? Oh, it's part of the cover. Interesting. I think it's part of like the collector's edition cover, which Felix actually got and showed off in the, I think he showed it off in the video review that he did. And there are 5 different cards to collect total, and I have 1, 4, and 5. I found this at GameStop recently. They clearanced out a bunch of their games. This is called Yuru Kill. I believe it's like a visual novel / shoot 'em up, like side scroller or like vertical shooter. I don't know much about it, but it was on clearance for $20. It looks really cool. I think we gave it like a 7 for review score, which is like, it's just fine, you know? But it sounds like such a weird mashup of games that I was like, yeah, I have to check this out. For 20 bucks, totally. I also got Taiko no Tatsujin from GameStop as well. This was 25 bucks, and this just came out like a couple months ago. And I think I've played a Taiko game in an arcade once before, but never at home. I also got Undernaut's Labyrinth of Yomi. This is a dungeon crawler, but it looks a lot like it's kind of inspired by Shin Megami Tensei, or just kind of falls into like that same weird like demonic category. I think I only paid like $20 for this as well on clearance. And then from my local store, I ended up picking up Happy Birthday to the Beginnings and Fun Animal Park, both in the same transaction. These games look like something that I want to just have a few friends over with, and I don't think these games will be things that I ever want to go back to, but I think they would make for a pretty memorable night. Look at Fun Animal Park and tell me that you don't think this isn't the wildest party game ever. With games like Doggy Catcher, Panda Balance, Kangaroo Punch, and Penguin Panic, can you go wrong with this? Have you played this? Please tell me if I made a mistake. On a lighter animal note, I picked up a box and manual for Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak on eBay for very, very cheap. That's the, here's the, and I have the game here somewhere. I think it's probably in my unorganized Hyperkin tray here, because I'm a heathen and I didn't alphabetize these. I normally do, but oh, there it is. Watch, we're gonna complete it right here on camera. And that, my friends, is how you complete a video game. Speaking of Nintendo, I also bought a PlayStation game, believe it or not. This is Vagrant Story. I played this back in the day a bit, or maybe it was one of those cases where maybe I played the demo, or I like always was interested in playing it. Because now that I think back to it, I can't actually remember what kind of game it is. But this is one of my buddy Brendan's favorite games, and it happened to be coincidentally at the store that I was at that I had a bunch of store credit for. So I said, all right, Brendan just bought a copy. I guess I signed a pact with him, and now I need to buy a copy too. That's not what happened, but I was inspired to get one, and I'm glad I have it. But I think my copy is missing. Yeah, I have the manual, but it's missing the like demo disc thing, which I don't actually know what demos were on it. But now I'm gonna be on a forever quest to find that. If you follow me on social media, you maybe saw this. So I went to a flea market recently, and I got a copy of Tomba 1 with part of the manual for Tomba 2. So this is just the cover and the back cover. There's no manual in here for Tomba. But I only paid $1 for this. And yeah, it has a Hollywood Video sticker on it, but this was a game that I always wanted to play as a kid. It never came to N64 during that era. It's never been on a Nintendo console ever. And I actually think I did play a demo of this back in the day, like maybe like a Pizza Hut demo or some PlayStation demo. I can't remember exactly. The cover for Tomba 2 is in here. This is a copy of Tomba 1. It's a Hollywood Video Edition disc. The game was actually in a Blockbuster rental case with a sheet of paper on it that said Tomba. And then the spine there were so many things going on with this that it was just like blowing my mind. I get out to the car, I open up the case, and I'm looking at it again, and I'm like, wait a minute. Is Tomba 2 maybe underneath the Tomba 1 disc? Are both Tombas in this case? And I think I kind of rushed to open it up. And I also, keep in mind, I left this in the car for like an hour because I was at this sale. I went and put stuff in the car, I went back inside, came back out, pulled Tomba out of the back seat. It was cold, and I cracked the disc in half. I tried to super glue it recently, and that didn't work. But I guess what I'm trying to say is a public PSA here. Be careful how you take games out of cases. If they're in a really rough Blockbuster Hollywood Video case, be gentle. GameCube discs, probably be very careful with them because those cases are tough. They're sturdy in a good way, but if your disc is fragile, it could snap like this. I wish I was lying, but one of my friends online said that I should just turn this into a coaster instead. So that's kind of what I've done with it. I have it in a clear case, and I'll slap a drink on it. Actually, I think I have a drink around here. Tomba Coaster, very effective. 10 out of 10. Would drink again. GameStop also recently discounted the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD Zelda and Loftwing amiibo down to $10 from $25. Now I already had one of these, but I'm trying to collect all of the Zelda amiibo sealed if I possibly can. I have most of them already. And so this one I'm going to crack open. This amiibo, by the way, is very stupid. I do agree with the fact that it's really dumb that they locked like such a cool like feature for Skyward Sword behind this amiibo, but I will say $10 is a much better price to pay for it. And this is one of the cleanest amiibo I have ever seen. Like the detail on Zelda's eyes and the Loftwing, fantastic. Like $25 is a lot to pay for a singular amiibo, but this is a really pretty amiibo, especially when you compare it to something like Marth. Why did they do that to you? I also got the Callie and Marie amiibo because these were really, really expensive for a long time. I think selling for like over $100. And then around the time Splatoon 3 came out, Nintendo restocked them. So I picked them up through that. And I'll probably crack these ones open as well because I'd like to do some cool photos for Nintendo Life with them, but I'm not gonna do that today. I don't have a second one of these, so I'm gonna leave those sealed for now. The package is also pretty cool, isn't it? I went to the Dollar Tree recently, which items are no longer $1 there anymore. They're $1.25. But I found these Sonic the Hedgehog like blind pack keychain things, and I got an Eggman one and this Sonic one. I think Sonic's pretty cool. His eyes are like just straight green, which is a little weird. I mean, maybe he's supposed to look like that and my brain has just like been warped or something. I don't know. I also went to the Mall of America back when I was in the Midwest, and I found this Yamper like keychain name badge string thingy. Like if you were working in a hospital like my partner does, maybe you would put your badge on this and you would swing it up and down to get into the building. And to keep up with my mildly obsessed Digimon brain, I picked up Digimon Racing on the Game Boy Advance. I didn't know this existed until I was reading a magazine recently and saw an advertisement for it. And then my local shop just happened to have this in a bin. I got that now too. I also picked up Jake Hunter Detective Chronicles. This is like, from what I've been told, it's just like another visual novel, attorney style game, kind of like Phoenix Wright. I shouldn't say attorney. It's you're a detective. You're trying to solve crimes, but I always compared it to Phoenix Wright back in the day because I guess maybe I just didn't know anything better to compare it to. I've had the box and manual for Front Mission on DS for a long time, but I recently found the cartridge at a local store too. So now I have that complete, just in time for the remake to come out on Switch. And then, if you've seen that video that Felix did on Attack of the Friday Monsters on 3DS, and in that video, Felix talked about another series of games called Boku no Natsu Yatsumi, which actually translates to My Summer Vacation. Now, these games never came to Nintendo platforms. It was all on PlayStation 1, 2, and 3, and PSP. But the most recent Shin-Chan game that came out was actually created by the same director as these games and Attack of the Friday Monsters. I know I haven't gotten to play this yet. I need to find a way to actually get this running on my PS1 or my PS3 somehow. But you just basically play as like a little kid roaming around the countryside, collecting bugs, making friends, exploring stuff. It's probably like what Shigeru Miyamoto did in his free time back in the day. So if you ever wanted to know what it was like being a 8-year-old Shigeru Miyamoto, Boku no Natsu Yatsumi, that's it. Tim Rogers also just did a big video on that too. I think that video is like 6 hours long, and I haven't watched it yet because I actually really want to experience this game for myself. But if you're interested, that video is also out there too. And then when I went to PAX, I didn't buy a ton of stuff because I was there to work and get stuff done, but I did check out a few booths while I was there. I went to the Omocat booth and got this little Omori keychain, which is dual-sided. I still haven't played the game, so I don't know the significance of these characters yet or not, but I thought this girl was really cute. And I was like, yeah, I'll support them. And I bet someday I'm going to appreciate this character when I eventually play Omori. But right now, it's just still on my to-do list. So we'll see how I feel about this eventually. I'll come back to you and let you know if this makes me happy or sad. I also loved Breath of Fire 2 growing up. It was one of the first like big RPGs that I ever played, along with like Final Fantasy II and Lunar Legend. And I played Breath of Fire 2 on Game Boy Advance, and Cat I always thought was a really cool character. And Fangamer actually was made a keychain with her design. And it was actually made by Temi Chang, who worked on Undertale. She did a lot of like the character designs for that game. I picked up Metal Combat on the Super Nintendo from the Pink Gorilla Games booth. I think this was only $5. And I've been trying to get all the Super Scope games. I still haven't played any of them. I did get a Super Scope recently. And when I say recently, I guess it was like 6 months ago. But I have almost all the Super Scope games now. So one of these nights, I'm just gonna bust them all out and it'll be a good time. I also got to meet up with Mega 64 again, and maybe you saw the PAX video I did where I like dressed up in like a Donkey Kong onesie and I had a Samus blaster, and I kind of like, I wasn't trying to prank Mega 64, but I went up and like asked them this stupid question about like Eiffel 65, and then asked if they'd sign my copy of Elite Beat Agents. And they did. They were super cool about it. If anybody thought that like I was trying to like pull a fast one on Mega 64, that was not the point. The whole goal was just like, I love those dudes. I've been watching them since I was a kid, and I came up with a stupid reason to have them in a video. And in hindsight, maybe I could have done it a lot better, but it's really cool to like have them be a part of something that I made. And also like the Elite Beat Agent skit that they put together back in the day is one of my favorites too. So I thought it'd be really fun to just have them sign a game that I maybe never would have played if they didn't do that video, thinking back on it now. I also met Dan Silvato, the creator of Doki Doki Literature Club. I actually interviewed him through Nintendo, or for Nintendo Life, maybe like a year ago now. And we went to his panel and I got to meet him at his booth as well and chat with him a little bit, or rather it was the Serenity Forge booth. But yeah, it was really nice to get to chat with him, and it was cool for him to sign my Monica covered Doki Doki Literature Club. I guess every copy of Doki Doki has Monica on the front, but why would it be anything else? I also got to try out Rift of the Necrodancer, which is the new game from the developers of Cadence of Hyrule. I met Ryan Clark, who I believe he directed Cadence of Hyrule. I could be incredibly wrong on that. He was really kind enough to sign my copy of Cadence as well. And he was a super cool dude, really down to earth, really nice getting to chat with him too. And I couldn't believe this either, but the guy who edited the Mother to Earth documentary, which is all about the original Mother or Earthbound Beginnings game, he was there as well. He was selling these Blu-rays of the documentary, and there's like a bunch of really cool special features baked in here. I still haven't gotten to check it out entirely. Oh yeah, Christian is his name. But it has like a really cool leaflet in here as well, like featuring like all the different timestamps for the doc. It shows deleted scenes. There's even like a checklist in here as well, that if you do this checklist, and then you can send it in, apparently you get something cool from him, which is really nice, because like Earthbound did that same sort of thing on the Super Nintendo back in the day. I believe there was like there was a mail-in thing that you could do where you would just get a free goodie if you filled out a thing and mailed it into Nintendo. I think it was like I think there was a card that you could fill out and you just had to answer a question. If you got it right, you got like this like scratch and sniff. You got like an air freshener, maybe it was, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it is. I know Chugga Conroy, I think, has one of those in his collection, or maybe he was talking to me about the fact that he doesn't have one. I can't remember, but it was really cool to just meet somebody else who like made an Earthbound documentary. And you can actually buy one of these for yourself too. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below too. Now I do have a few PR gifts here as well. I guess PR gifts, I mean like gifts that were given to me by like different video game developers or PR companies to promote their games, or just to say thanks for covering it. But I believe this one is from, this was to promote Dragon Ball The Breakers. This is like the shell of Cell, like after he evolves for the first time, I suppose. Now, I believe this actually came included with the Dragon Ball The Breakers Collector's Edition as well. I could be wrong, and please let me know if so. But yeah, this is just like a little Cell husk. And if I had like lizards or like a fish tank, this would be so cool to put in there. This thing is huge too. I'm really surprised. I thought it was gonna be a lot smaller for some reason, but it's pretty detailed too. I like that on the back here as well, they like advertise, or they show off like if you have the Cell statue that it like poses really well with that. And I agree, that looks pretty cool. You look a little dry, buddy. Maybe you could use some drink. Look at that, he doesn't leak. Thanks, Bandai, for sending this over. That was really nice. And then Limited Run Games recently just started publishing their own books. They're branding them press run instead of limited run. They're working with a bunch of different writers. I know like Jeremy Parrish, who is part of Retronauts. Also, I believe he works for limited run these days as well. He, I know, helped push a lot of these books. Jared Petty as well is like a big part of the press run side of the company as well now. They put out this book on the history of Sunsoft, which those are the people that did like Blaster Master. There's a PlayStation retrospective. I believe this one was written by Jeremy as well. There are these NES Works books, which actually this book covers games that came out in 1985 and 1986. And I'm not sure if it's every single game or not, but it's a lot of like the Black Label NES games. I can't remember what those are called, but then there's some like Konami stuff down there as well, some Capcom games too. And then there's the 1987 book. It looks like this one has Metroid, this one has Zelda as well, and a lot of third-party stuff in this one here. And then they also have the Virtual Boy Works book too, which this one actually just covers. It looks like it might be every single Virtual Boy game. Oh yeah, so the back features the Japanese games and the front features the English games. So, but this is every single Virtual Boy game in one book, which is pretty cool. Ooh, cute. So this is a Shin-Chan, Me and the Professor on Summer Vacation press kit. This game is themed entirely around like you just playing as Shin-Chan, exploring a world, catching bugs, making friends, talking with your family, eating dinner, and just like living the life as a kid. But this game came out in Japan a few years ago, and it finally came out in North America this year. And so to just celebrate it, the publishers sent us this box. So I kind of want to be careful about how I open this. I don't want to destroy it. Yeah. You know me, always trying to keep boxes. Yay. What is this? Me and the Professor. Yeah, this is a coloring book. Cute. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a Shin-Chan coloring book with tons of like little like individual just line arts. There's a dinosaur one. Oh, there's the dog. That's cute. Oh, cool. There's a plushie in here of Shin-Chan as well. Look at him. What a sweetie. Felix? Is that you? Oh, cool. A Shin-Chan pop socket. I've been wanting one of those again. Whoa, oh my gosh, so many crayons. 3 packs, I can't count. 3 packs of Shin-Chan crayons. There's a sleep mask with Shin-Chan's eyeballs. If I put it on now, I can't see what's in the rest of the box. Oh, wait, whoa, is this a strategy guide? Oh my gosh, yes it is. That's incredible. This is a Japanese strategy guide for the Shin-Chan video game. Especially since like I mentioned before too, I've been learning Japanese recently, and I'm just learning hiragana. I don't know enough to really do anything with it except for like, oh, I know what that character is. You know, like maybe if I'm lucky, I can read a word. I'm not very experienced at all, but this book is super cool. Yeah, it like shows off the characters in the game, and it looks like it has kind of like some general like help, like gives you like direction on what to do, where to find things, where to get items, probably where to get like the trading cards that you can collect in the game as well. There's even a Shin-Chan flash drive in there. Cool is that? Thank you for sending this over. That was really, really sweet. I also went shopping at the Portland Retro Game Show in October, and I bought a lot of stuff. And I walked around with this Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D shopping bag. So one thing I forgot to show off as well was when I was back home, I dug up a bunch of my old Nintendo Power issues that I used to get in the mail or ones that I bought through working at the game store. I left all of those back with my family in Wisconsin. When I was there, I brought a bunch of them back home with me on both of my trips, and then my family even shipped some of them back home to me too. So now I have all of my issues spreadsheeted. I have them in really nice boxes like off to the side so I can just pull them out and flip through them whenever I want. And I know which ones I don't have now. So I actually found a couple issues when I was at the event for only a couple bucks. I think this one actually has, yeah, there's a cool Mario Party 3 poster in this one. And usually that's the toughest thing, is like finding them for a good price with the poster. I always try to tell myself that I don't want to pay like more than $5 for an issue. But if you see an advertisement like this in a magazine, are you gonna leave this on the shelf or are you gonna take it home? I got the Star Wars Episode 1 issue, and then this Epic Mickey and this Mario Bros. One. Now onto the really cool video game stuff. I ended up picking up, this is just the box, no manual. I don't even think I own the game for this either, so I'm gonna have to hunt it down. But I picked this up for maybe it was like $10. And it does have like the cardboard tray in here. It's got like the Nintendo Power subscription slip. This is a decent find, especially for the price. And like considering that Camelot, the people that made Golden Sun, made this game, these like sports RPG things are things that I always wanted to get into, but just never did. I also managed to find quite a few other manuals while I was there too. I got a manual for Yoshi's Story, which actually completes our copy of the game. I think that was only like $5. I got this Dragon Warrior Monsters 2 Kobe's Journey manual. I got a Metroid 2 manual, only for a couple bucks. And then I got this Nintendo Power Info Nintendo Game Keeper file. So basically what this is you're supposed to write down which games you own and like how far you've made it in certain games and kind of use it as a way to like make like high scores for yourself. But then like I said, the other half is you're supposed to write down which games you own, and then you can write down which games your friends own, and you can even write down their phone numbers in here. So like if you want to trade games with your friends or like just see if you could go over to their house and play a game with them, then you have it in here. It's such a silly concept, but I absolutely love it. I also found somebody had a bin of free stuff, and there wasn't anything super spectacular in there, but there was this mask. I'm not sure who else in history has worn this mask, but if you can tell me what this is from, I will take it off immediately. You guessed right. I can't believe it. This is a Wonderful 101 mask. It even has a sticker up there in the corner. I think when I looked online, this was like a PAX giveaway back in like 2013, I guess, for the game when it was first being shown off. I also got a few games from a buddy of mine. I got Kirby's Avalanche and Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. And then I got Yoshi's Safari. I think I paid like $10 for that. And that was one of the last few Super Scope games that I needed. I ended up finding this copy of Uniracers. This is a game that I've always wanted to own. It just was a really weird little racing game that didn't like last long on the shelf because of like some unfortunate like legal problems between like Nintendo and Pixar, funny enough. But if you'll notice, it actually says on here, it says won't play, and it was priced at $1. When I saw this, I was like, yeah, $1, I'll take the risk. And oftentimes, like you may have noticed this before, but certain Super Nintendo games have like a plastic like film on their label. Like you can feel like certain ones feel smoother than others. And Uniracers is one that doesn't have that film. And so whenever I find copies of this game, like 8 out of 10 times, it's in really bad shape. So I was like, you know, even if the game doesn't work, I will at least have a nice cartridge shell to like use for a bad condition copy of the game. But I kid you not, I cleaned it off with some rubbing alcohol. I'm going to put this game in my Super Nintendo now. Sorry about the giant pile of things. But last I checked, this game worked. I did play it. Uniracers, don't do this to me. Kids, don't try this at home. Why? Well, my colors are really off. I don't know why, but at least you can see the game works. It does work. So sometimes if you see a broken game for $1 at a convention or a store, it might be worth taking a risk. It's a gamble. It could not work. There's no going back sometimes. What else is in the bag here? Oh yeah, I found like another random bin of stuff for like $1 or $2, and I got this hat, and I looked at this. I was with my buddy Brendan, and I was like, dude, I think that's the Mega 64 logo. And it looks like this hasn't been worn before, but was like in a house with a cat, because it's got cat hair all over it. But I looked it up, and sure enough, this is the Mega 64 logo. So sorry, Sean, Rocco, guys. I'm sorry I bought a secondhand Mega 64 hat. Thank you for making this. Oh yeah, I did get some Switch games there as well. I ended up trading with a guy. I traded him a GameCube controller that I got from a thrift store for super cheap for Dragon Marked for Death on Switch. No More Heroes 3 for $20, and I got Bravely Default 2 for $20. And both of these are sealed. Oh, and then I actually found Touch Detective 2.5. Now this game I've had on my list for a long time. I played the first one back when it first came out and really liked it. Never got around to this second one. But what happened with this at the event was actually there was a vendor selling this that had it priced like way too high. And I looked online, it should be like around like the $25 range, but they had it like almost double that. And I hadn't seen anybody else with it at the event. So I asked them if they could like re-look into the price again. And he tried, you know, like he didn't try to lower it that much. He kind of got a little weird about it, but he was kind enough to like come down to like what we both agreed was a comfortable price on it. So I guess what I'm trying to say with that is like, just if you're ever at an event and someone has something priced super high, like don't get mad at them about it. Just be calm. Remember, everyone's humans. Nobody wants to be yelled at. Nobody wants to be told that they're wrong. Just be kind and be patient and see what they're willing to do. Because I ended up getting this for $25, the price that I was happy with, where I felt it should be at. And I think they just made a little bit of a mistake pricing it beforehand. They just thought it was worth more than it was. And sometimes you'll encounter vendors that are charging way more on everything. And sometimes you just can't negotiate with people like that, I suppose. And sometimes you don't have to negotiate. If there's a price that's just good, don't feel the need to like try to haggle with everyone. But it is something that you can try to do at events like this because you're not buying from Walmart or GameStop or something like that. Like people are there because they want to sell things and it's good to be fair. So life lesson. Oh, I also got this little Yoshi figure for $1 because I thought he was cute and I could maybe take some pictures of him for Nintendo Life as well. And then I got to hang out with some friends of mine from Retrobit, and they actually hooked me up with copies of Avenging Spirit on Game Boy and Battletoads Double Dragon on NES. And the cool thing with these, I actually haven't even gotten to crack these open yet because I've been waiting to do it for the video here. These are actually full-on like special editions of these games that like are kind of like the Always Awakening that I showed off a long time ago. Like real working cartridges that will play in your original hardware. But they also come with like cool extra goodies, like this Battletoads one. Let me crack these open and I'll show you what I mean. So the Battletoads one actually has like a nice little like slip that comes off the back here that actually shows like some kind of like high res 3D like renders of some of the equipment from the Battletoads and like Double Dragons guys. And then it opens up. Oh, cool. It's got like a little plastic piece here as well that it like covers up the game. It's a really nice like presentation like piece. And then the cartridge is translucent green. Look at how cool that is. And then on the actual board there as well, they have like an etched image of the Battletoads Double Dragon logo. And then on the back we have the characters from the game there as well. And then yeah, this will just straight up work in an NES, which is really cool. It also comes with a cartridge stand here, which is in like a really nice little case. And then there's a full color manual in here too. The attention to detail that they put into this is really just above and beyond. I'm really digging this. And everything fits in here super well too. Like the stand like almost fits in like the styrofoam would in like an NES cartridge or in an NES like original box. You've got like space for the manual there too. The cartridge fits really nice. Like this is just a really well thought package. Like they just knock this out of the park. And then Avenging Spirit, this is a Game Boy original game that came out in North America as well. But I think it might have been more popular in Japan. It actually got an arcade release that is like full color and everything. But the cool thing with this game is it looks almost like a Kirby game. And I guess in a way it kind of is because you like capture, you're playing as a ghost. You can possess people, I guess, and use their powers. So like you can possess like a gangster and use his gun to shoot people, or a ninja and throw shurikens. But I actually owned the original game on Game Boy. Like I bought it on a whim at Mega Media Exchange back in the day. And yeah, I bought it on a whim and really, really liked it, and then ended up getting rid of it for one reason or another. But now it's insanely expensive on the secondhand market. So I'm really glad that like Retrobit was able to bring this game back. And I think they still probably only made like a limited number of these, like this on the inside. Yeah, so they made 5,500 of them. But I'm just glad that like they found a way to bring these games back to people and put so much love and care into them too. So this is a hardcover box as well. It's very much like that Battletoads Double Dragon one. It has like a little plastic shell in here that keeps the cartridge safe. Oh yeah, and I think I could be wrong, but I think the cartridge actually glows in the dark on this one as well. Yeah, this is so cool. Yeah, and this has like a little etched sketch of the main character on the back there as well. Yeah, this has an instruction manual too. Oh, and the manual is actually in English and it's in Japanese. I've never thought or seen anyone do anything like that. I mean, of course, like we see like French and German and Spanish in North America here, but seeing a Japanese manual is really cool too. And then on the inside of the box, I think what happens is, I think your girlfriend gets kidnapped and you're like, and then you get, spoiler alert, you get murdered at the start of the game. And then you go like on a quest to go and like save her. But I'm glad that they were able to bring this back in such a cool package. And I'm glad they didn't use the North American box art. The North American box is bad. My goodness, this is an incredibly long video. This video could end up being 2 hours long. I think I've been recording for about 2 hours, which is wild. But I guess that's what I get for holding on to items that I've been buying for the past 6 months. I really enjoy doing these videos for me. Maybe it's like therapeutic in a way. I don't know. It's just fun to like share this stuff. And I hope that you got enjoyment out of checking it out. Let me know if you've played any of these games in the comments down below. Let me know if you're going to try to find any of this stuff for yourself, or maybe if you bought some of these cool things too. Let me know if you were at an event or if you've ever been to any of the stores that I talked about in this video. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this, then why don't you find a way to amass a subscribe button of your own, like a Nintendo Life subscribe button. Like, I think what I heard is that if you click one, it actually gets given to you. Then you're officially subscribed to Nintendo Life. You'll get a little notification, even if you ring the bell too, when we put out new videos. That's a really cool thing. It's kind of like being part of a special club. We should make t-shirts for that. Thank you all so much for watching, but most importantly, like, thanks for hanging out for an hour or whatever, however long this video ends up being. I hope it was helpful for you. I hope you found some joy in it. And I also want to thank the people that set up the booths at Portland Retro, the people that run video game stores, the people that traded with me, and the people that sent me cool stuff. Nobody ever has to do that, and it's always really appreciated when they do. I'm Zian from Nintendo Life. Stay safe out there, and we will see you all next time. Oh, and by the way, in the process of buying this Japanese Wii U, I may have put together a massive order from Japan of random things. And it's not here yet, but when it shows up, I think I'm gonna do a video talking about the whole experience, the whole ordering experience. So if you wanna see that, let me know.